sometime we may try to set up a session where you can watch Ryan and his map. It's absolutely fascinating, but there's a huge potential for useful and quirky information, fun and really serious topics to be addressed through this. And but we really need the master plan to work easily and fun for people to do, because I haven't actually gone on, but I have a 25 item list to enter on there at some point, and I can't. I hope everybody will do it. I mean, just go have a go at it. It really is a tool that can help everybody in this neighborhood plan. So, is that it for the master plan?
I would encourage everybody to just go on there, fill out the survey. It's a pretty brief survey. The map's really cool. Just add, Park and Monroe, exactly what you said tonight. Just add that to it, and it's going to be a really valuable tool for the planners to take all that information and distill it down and really give us a valuable tool for the neighborhood.
All right, well, before we go on to the next item, I see we have our guest, Ms. Austin, is here. Ms. Austin's a candidate for District 6, and I bumped into her. Some period, this is Tracy Austin, and I believe Ian, do I have that?
Yes, Ian's my campaign manager.
Close. So we don't do politicking here, but we certainly do. We're grateful that you
Okay.
came, and we'd love you to
Thank you.
introduce yourself and
May I? Minute and a half?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm trying to think of the best place to stand to be seated. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. There you go. Good evening. I'm Tracy Austin. I'm a candidate for Atlanta City Council District 6. Just wanted to introduce myself, and right now I've been campaigning pretty intensively. So forgive me. I did write down notes that I'm going to read, and it's a minute and a half. I timed myself because I don't remember anything at this point. But number one,
we really want to hear about your background in the community.
yeah,
Really.
absolutely.
That's
and that's exactly
that's
what's in
really
here.
what we're.
Because I didn't want to talk too long, so I
Yeah.
said, let me narrow it down to a minute and a half on paper for you guys, or else
Okay.
I'll go on for days.
Good.
But the bottom line is that I believe that you and District 6 deserve a representative that's going to work diligently throughout her entire tenure, and that's what I plan on doing for each of you. Just so you guys know, I've been committed to helping others for a very long time. I've been in and around politics and government for 15 years. I lived in Washington, D.C. for 12, worked with members of Congress on and off the Hill, as well as with a firm that worked with Congress. I never really intended on ever being a candidate, and from my experiences, I quickly recognized the need for more people like myself that are passionate, mainly about children is my top priority, and which really transfers over to being a quality of life passion, which benefits everybody. In terms of my qualifications, I have over 15 years of business experience, and the beauty of it, it's very diverse because I work in corporate. I worked for Eli Lilly, I worked for AOL, but I'm also an entrepreneur, so I can relate to entrepreneurs, small business owners, mompreneurs and dadpreneurs. I've owned my own business for the past 15 years. Started while I was working in corporate. So I'm also just a little tidbit, I'm one of the few NFL certified female agents in the country. I actually spend more money on that business than I do make business, but I have a sports management business. My main business is I'm a business consultant. I have 2 nonprofits and 2 law firms that I manage. I'm a mother, and I can relate to the needs of other mothers, children and their families. And when it comes to issues related to the quality of life, safety, and our desire to live more sustainably, I'm very passionate about sustainability, and that's going to be a big push as well. I'm going to leave some literature about that. I'd like to see District 6 become a model district for safety and sustainability, a blueprint that we can take throughout the entire city, but I want to start it here. I think obviously we have a great place to make that happen. And the bottom line is I want to be the in-town mom on the council. The member who reminds our council of the importance of directing our city's attention to our children. I know it's different, but I want to create a policy that prioritizes the allocation of resources to schools, parks, sidewalks, and streets, increasing the walkability and the bikeability of our neighborhoods. I'd like to regulate child policies and procedures of nonprofits, clubs, both private and public. I'd like to reduce the speed limits, or better enforce the reduction of speed limits where it's already happened. We're not enforcing it properly. And then also I want to promote cell phone free driving zones. So these initiatives can benefit everybody, not just children, but children's my motivation. So that's generally who I am. I'm gonna leave some literature behind. I have my phone number and email address. At this point, I really don't sleep. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please feel free to call me or email me anytime, and I will likely pick up the phone. So, I am running to another meeting, but Ian, my campaign manager, will leave the information for you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. It's one of the most exhausting things anybody can do is run for office, and we certainly appreciate your interest in getting involved, and we hope that you will stay involved no matter what the outcome of this is.
Absolutely. I'm fully committed to serving each of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ian. Thanks for coming. Good to see you. Committee assignments. Lola, do you want to report on what we need? The board had an organizational meeting. Would you like to report on that? We need to make a motion and approve them at this meeting.
You want me to just do committee assignments, not new board members or?
Sure. Whatever you want.
Well, the board members, I'm not sure. We did have an organizational meeting, and I wanted to introduce, we have new board members, which are Suzanne Buck, treasurer, Colleen Lyson, who's the Athens Park rep.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Okay. Jess Wyndham, who is new to the board, and David Brandenberger, who's new to the board. Returning are Jack White as president, Lola as vice president, Peggy Berg as secretary, and Suzanne Buck as, well, not returning, but new treasurer. We also have returning John Becker, Peggy Berg, Lola, myself, I just mentioned Jenny Ferrero. Paige Huell is a new member, sorry, I missed her. Jennifer Keenan is returning, and Lauren Wilkes Freilich. If I left anybody out, let me know. So the committees break out this way, which we have the budget committee, that's Lola Carlisle. I can give this to you, Peggy, as well. 'Cause I know- the good news is we have a lot of new committee members and an active committee group. Peggy Berg will be on that, Suzanne Buck and Jack White. Communications is John Becker as chair, Lola Carlisle, Ida Sintner, and Mary Johnson. Planning is a pretty robust committee, because as you can tell, we have a lot going on. So there's Lola Carlisle, Jack White, Mark Arnold, Chip Bullock, Karen Fye, Jess Wyndham, Jennifer Keenan, Jenny Ferrero. John Brandenberger is new.
David Brandenberger.
David, I'm sorry I did
See
this.
why I'm calling Brandenberger?
So sorry, I corrected that now. Suzanne Rousseau, who's not here. Ryan Lash, who will be a technical advisor, as you can tell why. I think that's all. On the Preservation and History Committee, we have Lola Carlisle, Carrie Hobson-Pate, Judy Potter, Jack White, Jess Wyndham, and Rachel Blacker. I'm not sure about the pronunciation of the last name there. Safety, Peggy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have you as chair and Eleanor Barano. Is there anyone else that needs to be added to that?
No, but we hope we'll build some subcommittees over the course of the year.
Yeah, we do have some individuals that have expressed interest recently to talk to. Parks, we have Lauren Wilkes Freilich as chair, and we have Jack White, David Brandenberger, John Becker. Fundraising for Summerfest, Pamela Papner, Paige Huell, John Becker. Is there anyone else on that, John, that I'm missing?
I think that's 3.
Okay. There are a lot of committee members, but those are the primary ones. Fundraising, Tour of Homes, Angelica Taylor is chair, Eleanor Barano, Sarah Tamaka, Juliet White, Melinda Muffley, Julie Brow, Arturo Cruz, Summer Rochow, Bill Bell, Robin Ragland, and Gina Hecht.
Arturo was making.
I'm sorry?
Just a promotion.
Oh, okay.
He's still listed on the Tour of Homes committee.
Great.
Great.
Well,
I
that was
think
a
that's
lot.
it.
Good job. Thank you very much. And let's see, we're moving on. Is there any new business before this group? Calendar items, Ms. Carlisle, what do you have for us?
I just have, as far as I know, Tour of Homes, December 7th and 8th. There are quite a few meetings, you know, the master plan meetings and those kind of things. They're all listed on the website.
I'm having trouble finding that. Is there where do I go to get that information?
Virginia-Highland Master Plan?
No, the meeting dates.
They have not been determined.
We're
The
looking for a
reason they're
couple of
not, the
sites.
reason they're not on the website yet is because we haven't started through it. But the focus groups will be meeting
maybe the end of October, but it might not start until November. And the two public meetings that I mentioned, the design input meeting and the public presentation, those dates have not been finalized yet either. That's why they're not up, but we're close.
Those are way down there, and part of this depends on the volume of input, which is looking pretty heavy right now, because if it continues at a pretty heavy rate, then the folks who are processing it are gonna need more time to work through it and try to see what to make of it all, which is, but by all means, make them work harder, let's get out there and put that input in there. All right, there's that.
I got a couple calendars.
Yes, ma'am?
October 27th, we're gonna have a work day at the Triangle, at the corner of Virginia and Highland to do fall plantings there and clean up. And then on November 2nd at John Towle Park, we're gonna, address the water runoff that's made a gully, with a group from Georgia Tech. So if you guys can come out, please do.
The triangle is at 1, is that correct?
Yes.
And the gully is at 9 in the morning.
And are these events that we want to promote or solicit volunteer
The
involvement?
first one
with?
That's the
definitely.
first one.
The second one, we got probably 25 volunteers from Georgia Tech, Team Buzz coming in. What we need is folks who are handy with tools to help run some subgroups, just in case anybody's away out of the country and
Nobody's gonna even know to stay there for the Triangle ones. I
Sure.
said.
Okay, would you do that? Because we did, I just posted something today, to keep Virginia-Highland beautiful, which I know is not a part of the Civic Association. They're having their fall cleanup day on November 2nd as well. So that's gonna be like from 8 to 10.
Yeah, that's fine. It won't conflict. We really, this is a
Yeah,
very,
lot of the volunteers aren't.
very
don't live in the
specialized-
neighborhood that are helping on this one. They're engineers from Georgia Tech, because it's a
Okay.
difficult project. We need some expertise.
Lauren, is the Triangle cleanup kid-friendly? Little
I think so.
kid-friendly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
I think
Yep.
so. Yeah, it's fun. Some of it's too hard, but some
Yeah.
of it's,
But we could definitely find things.
That
kids
might
can
be
do.
neat too, to have like a, little kids are good at planting little flowers, doing
Yeah.
little things. So maybe we could have a section,
yeah,
there'll be at least 2 Keenan girls in there.
okay.
But yeah, maybe we could say that there'll be a kid activity or something.
Can I ask a question about John Hall Park?
Too, there was actually a request to invite kids
Good.
from the committee, they want kids to come.
That flower bed area near the corner of Barnett and Virginia, is there anything in the works to get that?
well,
Other
next
than
spring,
just
next spring.
we wouldn't plant any winter annuals there or anything like that?
I don't think
We
so.
like the look of the brown Bear Hill, and
No,
We'll have to look in the master plan, I don't know.
I bet we could find some
If we don't,
volunteers
how
who
will
would
we know
want
if
to
we don't
help.
look at the master plan?
yeah, we've gotten a lot of input about that corner specifically.
So John, seriously, if you can be available on the 2nd, this is a highly energetic group of volunteers, we've worked with them before, they're great.
I'm talking about the ones that are gonna help with
From
this
Georgia Tech.
erosion.
From Georgia Tech, yeah, and we really need, it's on my list, just looking around for some people who have some thoughtful, who are good at managing and thoughtful direction. Your husband is on my list to call. And so is Greg, he's also on my list to call. But it need not, we may wind up, last year I did a project of this, we had 23 women from the Society of Women Engineers, and they about killed the 4 poor men from Georgia Tech. No, it's great, we got a lot done, all jollity aside, we got a lot done, a very difficult, not a simple project, not real hard, but he really had to do, was thoughtful and needed to be managed, and they did it all. Now, I don't know exactly what volunteer group we'll get, but I've never had a bad group from Georgia Tech. So we do need some people, and I mention this because we could do some site prep on that corner that would help us get ready a little bit for the fall. But Walter's moved a lot of daffodil bulbs into there from other areas, which you're not gonna notice a thing until next spring. But we can still do more.
That's good to know.
We can still do more, and there's some other things we can do, so it will be a fun group to work with, and it's short and intense. They'll get there at 9:15, we'll be done at 11:45. We're gonna get a lot done, because we're gonna be ready, so, if you've got any ideas, it's great fun. We're not asking for too many other
Bodies.
well-meaning folks here, we need some people that and I'd like to talk to him ahead of time, but, we can really get that stuff done up there. And, very directed. This is not mulch slinging, we're not putting out mulch, we're really doing some things, so it's nothing wrong with mulch, but that's not what we're doing.
Check, has its faults.
I failed to mention, which is in my notes here, Suzanne Lott was not gonna be here tonight when I listed, so please let the record reflect that Suzanne could not be at this meeting, our treasurer, and said so ahead of time. We have, for observation here, Ms. Carlisle, you wanna take off with report on the logo for Virginia-Highland? It started because we didn't have a logo for our 6 things a year that we write on stationery. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, everybody's familiar with the Virginia-Highland Civic Association logo. You can see it at the triangle. It's been a long time since it's been updated. There's a lot of work that passes through a certain creative department, actually my office. And so the designers there said, please, please let us take a look at this logo. So we've been through this, the board is aware that a logo was going to be presented for their review and approval or not, however they want to handle that. So we went through one round and some input was given. So I'm just gonna share where we are now. The input that was given, I've sent the new logo out to everyone. And we incorporated a lot of those ideas. They were great ideas. So let's see. Let's remember where we were. This. And again, this is up to the board if they want it. It's a new logo. We would filter it on through.
Hold that.
Oh, sure.
Hold that.
This new logo is what we shared before. Kind of show it 2 ways with either a little border around it or not, depending on how we need to use it. You mind holding that with me? This is not as easy to see, but we've sort of makeshift incorporated it into some of the elements where it would be seen. If it's approved, we would really take some time to design the e-newsletter masthead, potential like signage for the neighborhood and those kind of things.
And the flag, you make it a flag?
Yeah, there's a kind of an indication of how it might look on a house as a flag. If we've talked about doing putting zazzle on our website where you can do one-off things and make some profit hopefully for the neighborhood. One thing that was mentioned and I wanted to share, so this is actually a pretty large version of it. Just to talk about the design elements, obviously it's a house, which is, just kind of a standard, it's representative of a house. Obviously trees, Virginia-Highland is full of trees. We know the coffins have a lot to do with that. The city's in our background. There's things about the design that designers would love to talk about. An arrow is kind of positive and upward. The colors are welcoming and it's fresh and new and current, but I think it feels right for what Virginia-Highland is today. So that's that. There was mention of basically the skyline. This is the city of Atlanta, but it is a designer's kind of, let's make it all look nice, not have some weird points and different things like that. So a couple people mentioned, look at the actual city skyline, which we did. One thing is, sometimes reality is not, it looks like Batman.
It does. In Nashville.
It's not really like aesthetically, it's, our design guys, we're gonna do this, we're gonna try it, but, I mean, even if we tried to it kind of looks like a cat moving, whatever that building is called, is just, sometimes the idea of a city is better than what it looks like when you outline.
Reality.
So, all of us design folks at my office are landing right here, and we love it, and we're happy if you guys want to, use it, please do. This, we would kind of feel like, oh, but, it was a good idea, anyway. So, that is where we are, I would love to see this go ahead and get implemented and used. So if anybody is ready to vote on it, that's up to the board.
Well, how do we gauge whether we're ready without making a motion, or do we make a motion? Or is there discussion? Is there questions? Or
Lola, can we see it back here?
Sure.
pass this around?
No, the old one.
You can have the cat one, I know you like cat.
Yeah, me too.
This is a incorporated, it's just, it's very
Well, there are a few things in the neighborhood that everyone knows how to do extremely well. Design parks is one, design logos. And so I applaud your courage in taking this on and demonstrating that it's not quite as easy as it looks. Whatever the board's pleasure is, we can do whatever the board would like to do with this.
To be honest with you, I initially really, as Lola knows, I really liked the existing logo. I always have, and I didn't really feel compelled for a change. And when I first saw the new one, it had some things I liked, but I didn't really care for it a lot. But I will say over 2 or 3 weeks, I've really gotten to become quite fond of it. I like it a lot.
Did you consider retaining the existing font instead of changing the font?
I mean, the font, is there anything of, the existing font is not very legible and it's very dated. But is there, I mean, if there's something about this font that you think needs improvement, I mean, I'm certainly not, and I don't think my people are married to it.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I'll tell you one thing, I don't know if comments from the peanut gallery are in order, but something that's really nice about certain neighborhoods, or logos in general, are the continuity and changes that are less dramatic. Because I know things evolve over time, but it seems like something a little more subtle or less, I guess, dramatic would be nice, because it's that old logo is nice. I mean, it's good, and it's iconic, and people, I think they recognize it as Virginia-Highland. And you know, I'd be interested to see how Inman Park's butterfly has changed over the years, if it has. I mean, I'm certain it probably has, but it's something subtle like Starbucks. I'm sure you've seen an evolution of their logo, where you look at it today, you know it's Starbucks because it's recognizable as that. But if you look at it originally, there's a lot of changes, but they've been subtle and over time.
Well, and I would say that besides the font, I mean, obviously a lot of those elements are incorporated here. The house, the trees, the skyline, and the sky behind it. So, I mean, there are.
To me, that is continuity. Those are the major thematic elements of the old logo, and they're included in the new one. It's just more up to date, cleaner.
Let's see the old one next to it again.
And I think the colors, it does pick up some of the same color families, it just uses
Yeah.
them differently.
They're muted, they're more muted maybe a little bit, or...
I have a question about color. From a distance, if I look at it hanging on the house, it really looked, what I saw from a distance was this white shape and the flag shape. I'm wondering if it would be possible to have some kind of more intense contrast somehow to where it doesn't look just from a distance, as if it's this point. And I can't read the elements because they're so close and huge.
I think that that's one of the things where I was saying when we start to apply it to its various communication pieces, then we need to look at it. And basically the intensity or the darkness of this can be beefed up. One thing we didn't want to do is spend a lot of time nuancing if it wasn't going to be an approved logo. So you'll see it implemented on each of the new pieces, and attention to detail will be given to how it appears on those pieces. Not to change it, but something's different when it's horizontal. It's different if it's more like a billboard seen from a distance as opposed to held in your hand, those kind of things.
Well, if I took off the old logo, if I took the letters off the old logo and just kept that shape and that kind of contrast, I could imagine that that's Virginia-Highland without the words. So I'm wondering, this logo without the words, does that eliminate Virginia-Highland the way the other shapes did?
Well, one of the things we really liked about it is the way that it does work without the letters, because it has to use the negative space and the positive space to create the shapes. So.
Do we know who did the existing logo? And if so, do we know if there's any meaning behind 3 houses? Because is there any symbolism there? Father, Son, Holy Ghost.
Well, it seems like more of a multiple numbers of people to me. to have.
I like the multiple, yeah.
I like the dormer on the old one, on the old logo, the little dormer window, I think it's just inviting. It might not work with the contrast.
Would board members like more time to mull this over?
Well, and I guess also, to Mark's point, I guess the font on the old logo is arts and crafts font. You know, that's a style of font that's associated with the style of houses. So I see some benefit to having that font that has that historic connotation to it.
One thing I'll add is that, I think the designers would be willing to do one more round. We've already had input from the past board and now input from the current board. So we'd be willing to put a little bit more, you know, address these kind of concerns that have come up because, well, design by committee is actually never great, but sometimes you get a lot of things that are really helpful and you just have to read through and see what they are. So I'll take this back to them and see if it gives them any inspiration to come back with a second one, but I think that'll be it. Just because I think they're where they want to be, but they're happy to take a little bit more direction. And so I'll pass another one around before the next meeting, and if they feel like they can implement this. And if not, it sounds like people are also comfortable with the old logo, so we can stay with that. So.
Is that acceptable to this board?
So we'll vote on it next time.
Right, we'll vote to either accept a new version or keep the old version or punt it to an indefinite, unknown fate in the dim distant future.
Well, does that mean that this one couldn't be revisited or changed or manipulated at all? You know, if people wanted to, I'm just asking.
I think absolutely anybody who wants to
You
jump.
find a free designer, yeah.
I just want to point out that I really wasn't kidding when I said everybody's great at this. And the fact is, until you try to convince two other people of your own design. So I would really urge that we just sit right down at that table with your pencils and colors and come up with another one, or we can stick with this one. I don't really care, but I know we're not gonna. I think that's gonna be the discussion, is present an alternative. And if it's better, or say you like the old one better, which is fine. I don't think anybody will be offended with keeping the old one. I personally would not like to change the sign too quickly. We just fixed it.
Yes, we see it, I noticed that.
I like
But-
the new one.
Well, there you go. So, we have too many discussions in this neighborhood, period, for my taste, that are where our opinions are helpful, but let's sit down and try to do something better if you think we can, or stay with the old one. It's okay with me, either one. But let's try to do that so that next month when we sit down, you're gonna have, your folks are gonna have one more go at this, right?
And
Okay.
if anotody has, another designer they want to talk to about changes to the old one, if they want to proceed that way, then that's fine.
Could you be at least a little defensive? All right,
I'm not married.
any other comments on this? All right, well then, I think we'll ask the board members, and members of the public are also welcome to say, when it's go over our budget, where we're at. It's a pretty boring discussion, but you're welcome to stay. It's all public data. It'll get posted on the website because it's all gets shared. But I'm going to declare the meeting adjourned, absent any other business said. At, what time is that, 8:30? 8:30? Thank you very much. Yes, Can we get your contact info, just because there's some other things going on? We won't be very long.
I've got it, we've been in contact. I can mail you some. And you're on the list
Well, it's
of the
insinuation that
focus
you can't
group
deny them,
when we
then
have
you
the
can't
dates. So
have
don't
the
worry,
dates.
you have not missed
That's his
it.
insinuation.